All right, what's up, everyone? I'm going to do just a little quick one. Just thoughts about this topic, just this archetype, the tragic artist. Um, it's canceled. It's being canceled, and I'm pleased about it. At least I feel like I predict that it's like it's in the process of being canceled. It's just an idea. You know this archetype. You know it. The tragic artist, the tortured artist, the outsider, misunderstood, dysfunctional, mentally ill, drug addicted, artist, throwing his typewriter at his wife's head, you know. Um, it's something I've been really like hating on more and more, and I think part of the reason why personally I've just become so annoyed by the concept is that, well, first of all, it's like this widespread thing that like totally normal people, like just any normal person, especially people who aren't deep into like creative shit, normal people will say like, yeah, man, well, suffering makes your art better, or like artists are crazy, man. People just say that like it's just chill, and it's like, it's like you're talking about my life, man. Like you're talking about whether I live or die, dude. It's like, um, but another reason why I've been so turning on it is just when I look at myself, um, just vibes and phases I've had throughout my career thus far, especially if you go further back in the catalog, I've slipped into that a lot. You take some real problems that you have and then kind of process those real problems through this archetype of the fucked up artist guy. It's not that the problems aren't real, but they get blown up, they get plugged into this machine of the archetype. I'm a tormented artist, right? You start valuing that torment. And I mean, it's one thing that I've really been tearing it down with is just that idea of that like great art comes from being a maniac. That's kind of like a recent idea. I mean, I feel like, that's like a couple hundred years old or something. At least, if you go back to ancient times and just think about what music, has been in different cultures, what art has been in different cultures. Because, obviously I'm a scholar of every culture. I mean, right? It's like, I'll talk out of my ass because you guys won't know any better. But no, I'm saying, like, what was music in the Middle Ages? I always go to the Middle Ages. But, like, you really think monks that wrote those beautiful Gregorian chants, you really think those guys were like, welcome to my sick mind. Like, this is, I'm all fucked up, man, but I'm getting through it by writing these chants. It's like, no, dude. First of all, they didn't even put their names on them. It's anonymous because they're just anonymous, humble servants to God. That shit has nothing to do with personal dysfunction or even eccentricity or even the personal at all. I don't know. Some indigenous society, indigenous cultures and tribes and stuff, pre-modern groups. You have music for a wedding. You have music for a funeral. Music, this is what music is. This is what art is. You have music for a birth ceremony or some coming of age scarification or something. This idea that music is great based on people being psychos. It's just this modern thing, man. It's just not essential to what music and art is. And I also, I've been really pissed about the idea also, just because over the course of the past like decade, all of these musicians who I looked up to as a kid, these like Gen X, like alt rock grunge people, they're just dying. Like Chris Cornell, dead, fucking, Lane Staley died. Kurt Cobain back in the day, obviously, these are my heroes, these Gen X people. I'm a little too old for Linkin Park to ever have meant anything to me, but that guy too. Scott Weiland, I'm saying that whole generation that I came up on, you look back and you're like, those were dysfunctional. Not only were those dysfunctional people, but their whole vibe while they were alive was that they're dysfunctional. That's what I'm talking about. They were playing that tragic artist trope, um, to a T, and I don't blame them. They're people with real mental health issues, real drug addiction issues, various trauma. It's all real. But then they plug into this thing, and it's like, not only is the music not helping them get over the shit, but it's like romanticizing the problems, and it's like there's this idea that the music's good because of that rather than in spite of that. And I don't know, it's like I feel like not like betrayed, but just like really disappointed and let down by just realizing that that whole trope just killed these great musicians. um and So yeah, that's like that's something where I'm just really trying to, and like in my own stuff, man, um, I'm really being more and more motivated to have this self-image of a sane, functional, productive, self-possessed adult creator of music. It's about beauty. It's about serving the Most High. Whatever that means to you. Um, and Yeah, and just having your shit together. Um, if you can't help but be fucked up and make art, okay. But I'm not trying to fucking identify with that, man. And people shouldn't really. Um, but the good news is, I think that the tragic artist is being canceled as a trope because, especially for white males, but white males are being just blanket canceled on all levels. Which you could complain about. You could decry that, or you could just think it's funny. I go for the option 3. But yeah, I think that archetype of the white male dysfunctional, mentally ill, drug addict, outsider art, like, welcome to my sick mind, guy. That I think it's awesome that trope is getting canceled, and I think it's getting canceled from both sides. Which this is what's interesting to me, because the tragic artist it's getting canceled. It's getting canceled from the social justice, Me Too, calling out abuse side of things. And it's getting called out on the other side from the sort of edgy based, well, actually side. And the it's getting canceled from the social justice side because you start routing out abuse, or people who are being abusive, and you realize that people have been kind of like, in a way, like justifying their treatment of other people based on the fact that, like, I'm so fucked up, I'm so self-destructive, I'm my own worst enemy, like that kind of thing. But then you start to realize, like, well, yeah, you're self-destructive, but when you're self-destructive, you're more likely to destroy other people's shit too along the way, And if you're your own worst enemy, fine, you're your own worst enemy, but you're also making other enemies along the way because you're just, because you're just incontinent in your behavior. You know what I mean? So, yeah, this is the thing. On the social justice side, if an artist is a drug addict, people are like, oh, I have sympathy. Addiction is an issue. If you're like, I have mental health issues and I'm self-destructive, suicidal ideation, it's like, oh, we have sympathy for you. Mental health is an issue. But then once that drug addiction, that self-destructive, once it comes down, once that starts to cause you to abuse other people, people are just like, I don't give a fuck about your archetype. Like, you're canceled, And I mean, look, we could argue about how fair or unfair it is who gets canceled, what the cancellation means. I'm not talking about the individuals and picking apart. I'm talking about just that archetype getting canceled and people having no patience for that anymore as an excuse for being an asshole. I think that's fucking awesome, because I look at myself and my own tragic artist kind of like, self-indulgent kind of mishigas, like when I was in my 20s. And yeah, I think that led me to treat some people bad. I think I would have treated people better if I had had a self-image of myself as being, a functional person. Like, that's what it means to be an artist, to be functional, not to be dysfunctional. So on the flip side, the tragic artist is also canceled from the based, edgy, well, actually side, because being a dysfunctional, mentally ill drug addict is seen as weak by that side, as it kind of should be. I mean, obviously I have empathy to my fellow recovering addicts, it's all love, but but and I have sympathy for mentally ill people. But from that based side, it's like, it's like, man, your weakness is not strength, it's weakness. Like, your addiction is not giving, like, that's not a model of how to, like, be a man or be a person. um yeah, so it's sort of like people are seeing how the tragic artist, from one side, people, from the social justice side, people are seeing how the tragic artist can be evil, and from the based side, people are seeing how the tragic artist can be weak and degenerate, and uninspiring in that regard. So yeah, I think it's just a really cool thing to be less self-indulgent. And I think that Corona, I can't even say Corona, it's so massive. I mean, it's like Corona plus, like, you know social progress revolution or race war. I don't know which it's going to be, but everything that's going down, this just insane juggernaut of social chaos right now. I think that's kind of wiping, or it's gonna wipe away that tragic artist trope even more. Because, I mean, think about right now. It's hard for me to imagine any new artists coming out and being hyped up with a ton of buzz. But, like, whoever is gonna get hyped up, new artists coming up on the scene, it's not gonna be some, like, white guy who's, like, welcome to my sick mind. Like, it's not gonna be Reznor, And Reznor's a fucking genius, dude. That's not up for debate. Or genius, okay, not a genius, but Reznor's amazing. But, he grew up. His shit now, it's still dark, but his stuff is not like Welcome to My Sick Mind. His stuff is, it's grown up, dark music. So I just think people are gonna. I think now it's just that that self-indulgent shit. People are just not. They're not having it from either side, and people are doing it less. And yeah, I think it's awesome. Do sit-ups, get 8 hours sleep, go to your NA meeting, and make beautiful music and art that serves the Most High. Have some humility about it. Have the self-love and the self-respect to take care of yourself. Have the confidence to know that your creative work does not come from your weakness and your dysfunction. It comes from your powers and your health and your joy. And yeah, just take it from there. This is a positive thing, getting rid of this trope. All right, stay up, guys.